Why are there some of us in the human population around the globe? But we often feel ourselves in a specific context, our societal context. Why are there some of us in society that just feel like we're really out of place? Like we're interested in deeper things, things that the rest of humanity doesn't really seem to catch their interest. We wonder how everything works, and we often wonder why everyone just agrees that we don't know how it works, but we don't really care. Or we don't know how things come to be, but we don't really care. Or they're given an explanation and they take it. Most of the time, religion is a societal function. It is not a path of self-inquiry, self-discovery, and self-development. Why are there some of us who no matter how much we learn, we want to learn more. We want to know more. We want to practice more. We want to try different techniques to see if they work. And a lot of these techniques are working with what we have within ourselves. And there's different words for it. There's different terms, and there's different ways of looking at it philosophically. There's different ways of feeling within yourself. But why are some of us so interested in the process of working with whatever that is within and how it interacts with that which is without? And why do some of us wonder why there aren't more of us? And we feel alone. We feel isolated. We feel like we're either the black sheep or we're just completely different race of human beings altogether. And we often view ourselves as being more awake. We often feel more awake than everyone else. And sometimes this can be a very lonely feeling, to feel so different because you're interested in a world that other people do not believe exists. In a world within ourselves that we feel, but others don't seem to feel it and aren't even curious about it. Some of us, what we're feeling, some of us among humanity, a small percentage, we're a bit ahead of the curve. We are in an age called Dwapara Yuga, is what Hindus call it. There's different terminology. The Greeks tend to view it as bronze, iron, and silver, gold. I'm not sure if that's the correct order, but there's different words for different cycles. And you'll find that the truly spiritual paths tend to not view time as linear, but cyclical and in phases that continues, that doesn't have like a beginning and an end. Societal thinking thinks of things in beginning and end, and events as historically inevitable rather than spiritually significant to various stages of development for human consciousness. Dwapara Yuga, we are in an ascending age. We're just now ascending back away from pure materialism and fear and religion and spiritual beliefs just based on fear or their worship of fear. And we're starting to become more interested. More and more people are starting to become more interested in, what pagans believe, these ancient spiritual practices, Shintoism, Buddhism. People are reaching across the sea, looking at different paths, different spiritual traditions, and curious about the ideas in them, curious about the ideas of energy. What is this? What is this energy thing within us? What is this chi? What is this prana? What is this inherent nature to everything? Shakti, that is this force that's in everything, this conscious, even feminine energy in everything that inhabits us, that is connected to the very fabric of not only our biology, but these things called astral bodies and our spirit, this life force. What's the difference between spirit and soul? Is there a difference? How does our mind interact with these? People are becoming more and more interested. You're starting to see a lot of pagan reconstructionism. As I mentioned, you're starting to see a lot of people in the West reaching out to the East, like myself with Hinduism. You're starting to see a lot of people not viewing spirituality and religion as, just one thing being correct, but everything being correct in a different way, or not subscribing to just one belief. Now, those of us who are very much interested in these things and very much interested in exploring and experimenting with techniques within ourselves and meditation and trying to work with energy and crystals and plants and reaching out to nature in more personal ways and really touching creation in a way that is not to take advantage of it, but to commune with it, to get close to it, to have a relationship with our environment, rather than thinking of ourselves as superior to it, and thus it is below us. We're starting to have more and more people among human beings who are doing this and interested. And now, those of us who are really interested in spirituality, and we're going to call all this spirituality. Spirituality different from religion. Religion being more a societal function, more of a path, somebody else's path that you follow rather than a path for yourself. Believing in somebody else being a savior rather than believing that you have that inherent nature within yourself. So there's not a whole bunch of us who are really, who really dive into this. There's a lot of people who are just starting to get interested. But for those of us who are really interested in a spiritual path or spiritual paths and learning more, practicing more, practice, not leaving something up for some external thing to do, but internal practice with your energy, with your mind, with your consciousness. Those of us who are really interested in it, we feel alone. We feel isolated. We see people kind of interested in it and kind of making connections, but not really going very deep. And it's disheartening. And I know that a lot of people who watch this channel will kind of get what I'm talking about. Feeling this sense of isolation. And perhaps if you're just, I don't say just to make something, to minimize something, but if let's say you're just pagan, you're just a Norse polytheist, or just Hindu, or you're just follow the Celtic ways, Celtic practices, or you are just on the runic path, or perhaps you just follow Native American beliefs. But it's, once again, all these things, as long as you're working within yourself and developing yourself, that's what makes it a spiritual path. But if you're just interested in one of these things and not interested in multiple, that's fine. But how deep you dive into these things really shows how spiritual you are. And you see a lot of people just kind of interested in these things, but those who really dive deep into any of these things, maybe not all of them, but maybe if you just really dive deep into one, it can feel very isolating. And you might feel more kinship with people in paths that are completely different, but still want to dive deep, who still want to talk about these things, who still want to learn and practice and learn techniques and practice, who don't put all of their efforts into the external material world, but really interested in spiritual path. And there's a whole bunch of variation between the variations of how interested you are in spirituality, and how deeply you practice. But some of us are just really consumed by it. I don't think I'm completely consumed. Otherwise, I just would have left. I would have gone, joined an ashram somewhere in India, or gone into the forest, never would see me again. So I'm still in society. But I find myself every time I see a forest, or every time that I learn techniques and learn about these spiritual communities, and learn to practice these techniques, learn different techniques, and watch YouTube videos of people talking about these things. I'm like, I just want to go there and get away from society. And it's funny, when I'm in a car and I'm driving past forests, I just have the urge to just go in and don't come back. Not necessarily because I hate society or anything like that. It's just the thinking of most people is very materialistic. And that doesn't make them evil. That doesn't make them bad. It's just that most people aren't, the vast majority of humanity are not spiritually developed enough. They haven't reached an incarnation yet. I believe in reincarnation. You don't have to, but they haven't reached an incarnation yet. They haven't done enough spiritual work yet. They haven't developed themselves yet enough to where they're interested in something beyond this world, and they're very much just tied into this world. And that's just a certain level of development. That doesn't make them bad. But for those of us who are very spiritual and who are really interested in spirituality in general, it can be very lonely, because being ahead of the curve is, in whatever age you're in, especially when the cycle is just starting to go back up, when you have all these cycles, and then you're kind of at the age where everything's starting to go back up, some of us are going to be ahead of the curve. And really, this is a message of hope for you. It's okay. There's more of us out there. There's more spiritual people out there. And you feeling lonely is not a bad thing. It can hurt. It can be painful, but it's not a bad thing. And you might have to be a solitary practitioner for for most of your life. You might have to develop a solitary practice and your own techniques by yourself, depending on your circumstance, depending on people around you, depending on if you are in the socioeconomical position to actually go to these communities or reach out to people and move around and go to different communities and meetings, whatever it may be. Try to find a way to be okay with developing yourself by yourself. I struggle with this as well. I have struggled with this very much. And I've met spiritual people, I've done spiritual activities with people, but mostly it has been solitary, very isolating, very lonely. And I just want to let you know that I feel that pain too. And we have to find a way to develop ourselves, meditate, practice, whatever spiritual practices that you have. Work with your crystals, work your various spells, reach out to your gods, pray to your gods, talk to your gods, commune with your gods, free write, make offerings to your gods, and research, read. Keep on expanding yourself and developing yourself within, especially when it gets lonely. Because you don't want to be in that headspace and just focused on your loneliness. When in doubt, when isolated, when lonely, talk to people online, yes, and reach out to friends and hang out with friends. Even if you have materialistic friends, hang out with them sometimes. You're going to need human contact. We're not superhuman just because we're spiritual. We need contact with people, even if they're not spiritual. Don't isolate yourself. If you feel the need to isolate yourself, sometimes that's fine. If you're very introverted like me, you recharge, when you're by yourself, that's fine. But keep on reaching out to people as well. Don't trap yourself. But at the same time, develop yourself. Don't get so focused on your loneliness that you stop with your learning and with your self-development and your practices. Because a lot of us have a tendency to fall into depression, anxiety, maybe even self-loathing or self-doubt. And it's a terrible hill to fall down. And just try not to trip down that hill. And if you trip down that hill, pick yourself back up. Just learn and practice, and find a way within yourself to be okay with practicing by yourself and alone. Don't feel like that your work is in vain as long as you're developing yourself. And don't feel like there's an external force judging. I believe in gods and I believe in source. I believe things watch me, for instance, constantly. But we have to understand that while they watch us, they have a hyper-awareness, hyper-consciousness of, they don't judge us like we judge ourselves. Don't go around hurting anybody and don't litter and mess up the earth. But as long as you're trying, my contact with different spirits, beings, and gods, as long as you're trying, they don't judge you as harshly as you judge yourself. I can't tell you this with absolute certainty, but the contact that I have had, it's not nearly as intense as far as judgment goes as we tend to judge ourselves when we feel like we're stagnant, when we feel like we're not moving forward. Just move forward bit by bit. Find a way to do it by yourself, but keep on expanding. Things will get better. Things will get better slowly. People will slowly more and more open their minds. But we can't think it's just around the corner. And we can't keep on just hoping everything's going to change in an instant. It doesn't work that way. Slow, gradual process, slow, gradual evolution of humanity. So if you see something that gives you hope in society, great. But do not hedge your bets or place all of your emotional capital into expecting or needing these things to happen in society, because they will not. Society ebbs and flows. It becomes better, worse. But overall, people are becoming more spiritual. But don't feel like you have to look for that or see that, or if you don't get discouraged. We don't see everything. We don't understand everything. All we can do is work on ourselves. Keep on doing that. Don't get discouraged. And don't be invested too much in seeing the changes that you want to see in society. If you feel alone, I often feel alone too. But as corny as it sounds, it's going to be okay. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video at all, if you have any feedback or you feel the same way, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I try to respond to every comment that's polite, even if I don't have something to say, I'll be like, thanks friend or something like that. I just try to at least let you know that I did read it. Feel free to share this video wherever you like. I'm completely okay with that. They'll know it's me, obviously. It's very hard to not tell that this is my video. Yeah, share it wherever you like, and hit that thumbs up, like this video. It really helps out the channel and gets traffic to my channel. And I'm always open to recommendations in the comment section below. And if you want to give me any feedback as far as what you would like me to talk about, or if you'd like me to talk about this more, or what specific aspect you'd like me to talk about, I'm open to that. At any rate, I hope this was helpful, and I want all of you to have a wonderful day.